To be this entitled and this broke at the same time, you got more audacity than money in the bank. He's a, say it with me, hobo-sexual. Am I the a-hole for wanting to leave my wife after she gave birth to my child? Whoa. Jeez. Hello, little enzymes. Welcome back to Daisha's Digest. The topic for today is going to be I ain't going nowhere. Period. All of the information will be included in the description. Let's get into it. Am I the a-hole for not letting my roommate's boyfriend shower at our place anymore? So I, 21 female, live in a 2-bedroom flat with my roommate, 22 female. We've lived together for a little over a year and mostly things have been fine. We split rent and bills evenly and we're friendly, though not super close. We respect each other's space and it's been good up until recently. About 6 months ago, she started dating this guy, 24 male. He was around once or twice a week at first, but now he's here constantly. Literally sleeps over 5 to 6 nights a week, sometimes full weeks in a row. He's not on the lease, doesn't pay rent, doesn't bring shopping, doesn't help with anything at all, nothing. I've never said much because I get it, it's her boyfriend and I didn't want to start drama. But why can't she go to his place? Is he a hobosexual? But what's been bothering me lately is the shower thing. He showers all of the time, like twice a day minimum, sometimes more, and every single time he uses my stuff. My shampoo, conditioner, face wash, razor. That's disgusting. That's actually disgusting. Nah. Look. Anyway, she said razor, deodorant. Yes, I noticed. Deodorant is nasty too. I get like sharing deodorant between like your best friend or your sister every once in a while. You're a strange man in my home coming into my bathroom using my razor and deodorant. That's disgusting. She said, I didn't even say anything the first few times because I thought maybe she let him borrow something once, but this is just ongoing now. I've moved all my things into my room and carry them back and forth like I'm at camp or something. I brought it up to my roommate a while ago and she just went, he probably didn't realize, and didn't do anything about it. Last week, I finally said something more direct and I told her I wasn't comfortable with him showering here constantly, especially since he doesn't live here, doesn't contribute to anything, and uses my stuff. I told her I'd feel differently if he at least bought his own stuff or chipped in somehow. She got super annoyed and said he doesn't have any money right now. Girl, I knew he was a hobosexual. He ain't got no place to stay. Ain't no way you staying over at her house 5, 6, sometimes all 7 nights a week, showering there twice or more daily just because you want to be around her. You don't have anywhere else to go. That's really crazy. And I hate that for OP's roommate that she is allowing herself to accept a man like that. You should not be accepting a man like that. I say this because she said they've only been dating for 6 months. That early into the relationship, he should at least have his own place of residence and a little bit of money. She talking about he ain't got no money right now. He don't need to be dating right now. His main focus in life should be trying to get another job, trying to get a stream of income. She said he doesn't have any money right now, so it's not like he can buy his own things, and that I was being cold and controlling. She told me I was overreacting and that it's just hygiene. The way I would have called the landlord, because you done played one too many times. We getting that man up out of there one way or another. Now, she tried to be civil with you. OP said I snapped and said it's not about hygiene. It's about boundaries and respect. For what it's worth, I wouldn't have even minded grabbing him some basics if she just asked, but she didn't and neither did he. They just assumed I'd be fine with it. And honestly, I don't even really like him. He's not awful, just kind of moochy and not self-aware at all. So maybe I'm being harsh because I already find him annoying. Now my roommate is barely speaking to me and told one of our mutual friends that I'm being weirdly territorial and passive aggressive over a guy, quote, taking a quick shower. I don't know. Part of me feels bad because he is broke and maybe I'm being too harsh, but I also feel like I'm being walked over in my own home. I just need unbiased advice. So, am I the a-hole? No, not the a-hole, and you shouldn't be feeling bad for a broke, grown man. He already is having a free place to stay at your place, not paying any rent, using up all the utilities. So, with all that extra energy he has from not having to work to pay rent at a place of his own, he should have plenty of time and opportunity to at least apply for some jobs or do something. Go on a paper route, Uber Eats, DoorDash, rent a car off of Turo, something. Instead, you at home taking 82 showers a day, using up all the soap and razors and deodorant that aren't yours. Somebody said, absolutely not the a-hole. That's gross and disrespectful. Your shampoo and conditioner once would be one thing. Your razor? Deodorant? F no. He doesn't live there, doesn't contribute. I would bet it's on your lease that it's limited to you two staying there. If your roommate is unwilling to take steps to ensure your boundaries are respected, I'd contact the landlord. But do your best to deal with the roommate first. Facts. That's what I'm saying. I would be contacting the landlord. OP responded, thank you. I'm going to try and talk to her properly when she gets home, but if she brushes it off again, I think I'll go to my landlord. Somebody said, so why isn't he using her stuff? I was wondering that too. Is she broke too? Does she not have soap and deodorant and razors? Honestly, if you're broke, you can get that stuff at the Dollar Tree. Like I don't know where they live, but it's $1. Literally, like you can get at least a 2-week worth supply for less than $5. So being broke really isn't that much of an excuse for not getting your own things. Someone else said, not the a-hole. You are absolutely not responsible for him being broke. That isn't your fault and not your problem. Don't make it your issue to deal with. If your roommate wants her boyfriend to stay over and shower there, you have to be treated respectfully about that. He wants hygiene products, use hers, or she can buy him some. He's using yours without permission. That's theft. She needs to set this whole situation straight. If she won't do that, then let her be mad when you complain to the landlord. Please don't let yourself be walked over on this. You've dealt with it for 6 months. Point out how nice you've been, because that's so true, and say the party is over one way or the other. Respect yourself. That's facts. 6 months is a long time to be dealing with this. Opie responded, thank you so much. I really appreciate this comment. You're right. I've been more than patient and just want to feel respected in my own space. I'm going to try and talk to her properly when she's home, and I'll update after. Fingers crossed it goes okay. Let's go to the update. 1 day later. So I ended up having another conversation with my roommate after she got home, mostly because I couldn't keep walking around like everything's fine when it's really not. And the comments I read from my previous post helped me to come to that conclusion. I told her as calmly as I could that this situation is seriously getting to me. I get it that she's in love with a brokey. She didn't say that. But I'm not just some side character in her life who has to deal with the boyfriend constantly being in our home. I told her flat out that it's been months now of him basically living here, eating, showering, lounging around, sleeping over 5 to 6 nights a week, and it's crossing the line. She just kind of blinked at me and said I was being heartless. Literally said those exact words, saying I had no compassion for her relationship or for him, or the fact he had barely any money and needed somewhere to stay most days and needed food, etc. That man is a hobosexual. OP continues, she accused me of being dramatic and of caring more about shampoo than a person who means the world to her, and I just snapped. I told her this is not about shampoo. It's about the fact that her boyfriend, who doesn't pay rent, doesn't contribute to bills, and isn't even on the lease, has been using all of my personal stuff for months without asking. Like, literally never asked. Not once, and neither did she. He just started helping himself to my shampoo, blah, 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 blah. We know. Like I'm running a free hotel and he's a guest. And the worst part is, he barely even talks to me. This man's been living in my space for months, and I swear we've maybe had 2 conversations ever. Half of the time, he doesn't even say hi when he walks in the door and just walks straight past me like I'm invisible and hops in the shower with my products like it's no big deal. I can't believe I have to put up with it for this long. I told her if either of them had even asked just once, I probably would have been chill about it. Like, yeah, he's broke, I get it, because times are hard. I would have even offered to grab him a few basics if he was short on cash, but no one said anything. They just silently decided it was okay for him to mooch off of me and my stuff and my space without so much as a conversation, like I don't get a say in any of this. She got super defensive, like arms crossed and full of attitude, and said something like, "Well, he's my boyfriend and I'm allowed to have him over. It's my home too." And I said, "Yeah, you are allowed to have him over, but let's not pretend like he's just here sometimes. He's always here. He's been here more nights than not for the past few months. And when he's not sleeping over, he's still around. He's basically moved in without actually moving in. And if he's going to act like he lives here, then he needs to contribute like he lives here. Period. It's been 6 months, sis. He ought to have something to show for 6 months of free living and mooching. He ain't got nothing to show for that." So she continues, she just rolled her eyes and said, and I quote, "Get used to it. He's my boyfriend. And as I said before, he has barely any money, so wouldn't be able to contribute anything." And that was it for me. I've been so patient. I've tried to be understanding. I've given them the benefit of the doubt over and over again. But at this point, I feel completely disrespected and walked over in my own home. I've realized I'm not overreacting. I'm reacting to months of not being heard and being treated like I don't matter. I'm calling our landlord tomorrow morning. I'm going to explain that this guy has effectively moved in. He's been staying here for weeks on end, using the amenities, taking up space, and not paying a single penny toward rent or bills. And if he's going to keep staying here, he needs to start paying his share. I didn't want it to come to this, but I'm not going to keep carrying the weight of a third person in this flat just because my roommate's in a relationship. She made it clear she's not going to do anything about it, so now I have to. Period. I'm on your side, sis. Call the landlord. Do what you got to do. We got to get him out of here. That's absolutely ridiculous. So update 2, a day later. Thank you guys for all of your help and comments on my prior posts. So like I said I would, this morning I spoke to my landlord. I was so anxious before calling because I didn't want it to feel like I was tattling or trying to blow things up, but I also knew I couldn't ignore it any longer. He picked up quickly and was actually really calm and professional about everything. I explained the situation as clearly and fairly as I could and told him that my roommate's boyfriend has been staying over 5 to 6 nights a week, sometimes more, using all of our utilities, taking over our shared space, and even using my personal things like it's all free, despite not paying a single penny toward rent or bills or even any shopping. The landlord paused for a moment and then told me that it wasn't okay. He told me that technically under the lease, guests are allowed for short stays like the occasional overnight or weekend, but then said that's very different from someone else effectively living in the flat, and that if someone is staying over more than a couple of nights a week on a consistent basis, that counts as an unofficial tenant. He said that if my roommate wants him there full-time, he needs to be added to the lease and start contributing to rent and bills immediately, period. Otherwise, he said her boyfriend will have to seriously cut back on how often he's staying over, and if my roommate refuses to cooperate or tries to keep things as they are, it could result in her being in breach of the lease agreement. He said she could face consequences, including possible eviction if this continues without resolution. That honestly shook me a little, but also validated that I'm not overreacting. Now, on to the more awkward part. Ooh. A few hours ago, at around 5 p.m., her boyfriend showed up again. As he came in and went to walk past me like usual, I stopped him and said I needed to talk to him. He looked caught off guard and kind of gave me that fake confused about what expression, but I stood firm and said I just needed to clear the air. I told him I'd noticed he'd been staying here constantly and using all my stuff, such as my shampoo, my face wash, my razor, and yes, I got a new razor the same day I noticed he was using mine, deodorant, all of it without ever asking. I said I was really uncomfortable with it, especially since he's not on the lease or contributing to anything. That's when he got defensive. The audacity to get defensive? That somebody's calling you out on using their household supplies in a place where you don't pay bills. I can't make this up. I can't make this up. She said he didn't yell or anything, but his tone immediately turned snappy and kind of guilt-trippy. He said something like that he was sorry he didn't have somewhere else to go right now and that he was in a deep place. He then said he wasn't trying to make my life hard and that he was just trying to survive. I mean, it might sound callous, but I really have no sympathy. It's been 6 months. You could at least try to pay something. And again, like she said, if he would have at least asked and not acted entitled to her things, he might have gotten a better result. But to be this entitled and this broke at the same time, you got more audacity than money in the bank. That's just crazy. You writing checks you can't cash, my brother. She said then he launched into this whole monologue about how he's unemployed, struggling with his mental health, that his family all cut him off, he can barely afford food, let alone shampoo, and how my attitude is just, quote, another example of people turning their backs on someone who's already at rock bottom, end quote. He even asked if I think he wants to be in this position, or if I think he feels good about the way he lives, like I was supposed to feel guilty for bringing it up. Because at the end of the day, it's not her problem, to be quite frank. Opie said I stayed calm and told him that I wasn't trying to kick him while he's down, and that if he had just asked me, I probably would have said yes, and I might even have bought him some basics. But he didn't ask, and he just started helping himself like it was owed to him. He didn't really have a response to that, other than shrugging and muttering that he didn't think it was a big deal and that my roommate told him it was fine. I said, it is a big deal to me. This is my home too, and he has been treating it like a free house that he's allowed to live in, and that's not sustainable anymore. I told him my landlord's going to get involved now and things will have to change. Either he gets added to the lease and starts paying his share, or he stops staying over all the time, and if neither, my roommate could end up being evicted. He got quiet after that, gave me some annoyed half apology, and went into her room. Honestly, I think he was more embarrassed than anything, but I'm not backing down now because I've done my part and I've been patient. I've communicated like an adult, so what happens next is on them. No word yet from my roommate after her convo with the landlord, which I assume happened as my landlord doesn't usually say stuff and not follow through with it, and she still hasn't come back home, which leads me to believe that she's furious. That said, I'm done prioritizing her comfort over my peace of mind, as I've been more than fair. I will update again if and when my roommate says anything to me. Also, I've officially locked my shower stuff away and the snacks that I had previously bought, which were my snacks I bought with my money. I went to Argos this morning and got one of those little lockable storage boxes and slid it under my bed, as some of you suggested. I made a very unique 4-digit code for it too, so hopefully my roommate's boyfriend doesn't go to the extreme of trying to open and snoop through a locked box. This is why I'm so grateful and thankful. Thank you, God, that I live alone, that I ain't got to deal with no roommates. I just can't. I barely can live with a significant other. Honestly, I don't know if I could live with a significant other again. Like, living with other people, it's just not it, bro. Like, even if and when I get married, I think I would be fine if we lived in the same house, if we just had our own rooms and we had our own separate areas in the house. Hopefully the house is big enough to accommodate that, but like, you have your room and your stuff, I have my room and my stuff. I can decorate it like I want. I can be in there by myself, like maybe even 2 kitchens, like maybe even 2 separate houses. I don't know. Next door to each other. I don't know. Living with other people, it's just not it to me. Update 3, 2 days later. Thank you for all your comments and positivity on my previous posts. I'm hoping this will all blow over soon, as confrontation is not my thing in general, and this is a situation I really don't want to be in, as I don't want to be the reason someone who's already struggling ends up on the streets. And before I get into the latest update, I did see a comment asking why I didn't just ask her why he doesn't use her stuff. And the answer is because he already does. LOL. He uses both of our stuff whenever he feels like it, but for some reason it's mostly mine he grabs. Anyways, my roommate came home about an hour ago, just before 12 p.m., and it was obvious from the second she walked through the door that she was furious. She slammed the front door shut, slammed her keys a little too hard onto the side table, and threw her bag down. I was in the living room at the time, and the energy shift was instant. I waited a moment, then came out from the living room, said hello, and asked as gently as I could if everything was okay. Now, OP, you know it's not. OP said she didn't answer right away and just stood there with her jaw clenched before blurting out that she couldn't believe I actually called our landlord, and then asked me why I was being so dramatic. I stayed calm and said I had already told her I was going to if nothing changed, and that I didn't go behind her back. She gave this bitter laugh and said something along the lines of, "Yeah, well, now, thanks to that, our landlord told me in no uncertain terms that my boyfriend is not allowed to stay here any more than 2 nights a week anymore unless he starts paying rent." Good. You should have told him that too. Let's reiterate the fact that this has been going on for 6 months. Let's also reiterate the fact that you unanimously made this decision in a house where you are not the sole resident. You did not consult with OP, your roommate, at all. Just did it, using up the space, eating up the food, using the deodorant, reusing her razors. Yeah, he needs to be on the lease. It's time. There's only so many excuses we can make for these hobosexuals, and you're running out of them. It's time. I sympathize with his situation. It's a hard time in the world. Everyone is struggling, but there are many, many different ways to make money. And if you can't think of any, ChatGPT is free. Ask that. In 6 months, he should have been able to make something shake in 6 months. It's time. OP continues, she was absolutely livid. She asked me if I even understood what that meant, and then said he literally has nowhere else to go right now, and he's been staying here because he doesn't have a home, not because they were trying to take advantage of me or something. She kept telling me he was struggling and would have no money to pay rent or bills. And now what? Is he supposed to just wander around in the cold at night and freeze to death? While you, and I quote, sleep soundly knowing your shampoo's safe and sound? The last line was so sarcastic it would have been funny if it wasn't so frustrating and guilt-tripping. I took a deep breath and said it was not about the shampoo. It was about how he's been here constantly, like literally living here without ever being asked to contribute anything, and literally had barely even acknowledged me ever. I mentioned that I tried to talk to her about it twice, and she blew it off both times. What else was I supposed to do? She crossed her arms and looked at me like I was the most cold-hearted person alive. She told me he was her boyfriend, and of course she would want him here, that he's going through so much, and now I've made it so he feels completely unwelcome. She told me his family just cut him off one day with no reason, and all of his friends stopped talking to him too, and apparently treated him awfully, which, in my opinion, seems ironic, but maybe that's just me. Look, let me pause here again. It's quite the flaming red flag to me that not only your family cut you off, but all of your friends as well. What did he do wrong? What did he do so bad that everyone in his life close to him cut him off? Because that's unusual. That's quite unusual. OP continues, apparently he called her after I confronted him earlier and told her he's going to stay at a friend's place tonight, and he sounded like he was about to cry before he hung up the phone, then said this was just another example of people not giving a F about him when he needs it the most. Blah, 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 blah. He sounds, and I hate to use this term because I feel like it has negative history associated with it and the people who typically use this term and the people who they're typically referring to when they use this term. But anyways, he sounds like a professional victim. Sounds to me like this is his job, to hop around to the next person that he's able to take advantage of and not try to get out of his situation. Just hop to the next person that'll take care of him. And all the other people before her, they said, no, we're not doing it no more. Opie said, I literally didn't even hear him leave, so he must have crept out, LOL. I could feel the guilt tripping in every word, but honestly, I've reached the point where I'm done letting it work on me. I said that I was sorry he's going through a rough time, but this is my home too. I pay rent, I pay bills, I keep this place going just like she does. I'm not an extra in her relationship. She brought someone into this space without asking, let him treat it like it's his, and didn't lift a finger when it started affecting me. That's not okay. She went quiet at that, still clearly annoyed, but with nothing left to say that wouldn't sound like more of the same. After a few seconds, she just said, I hope you're happy, and walked off into her room, slamming the door behind her. I'm not happy. I didn't want it to come to this, but I'm also not sorry. I've been way more patient than I should have been, and I've tried to handle this like an adult. I don't think her boyfriend feeling unwelcome is because I'm cruel. It's because they've both acted like the rules don't apply to them, and that's not my fault. So I guess this is where things stand for now. Tense, awkward, and probably about to get worse before they get better. But I feel like I can see the horizon of no more stolen shampoo, and hopefully this will all be over soon. This was June 12th, child. This was 2 weeks ago. Let's see. There's gotta be an update. Yep. No, wait. Yes. Update 4. 13 days ago. Hi again, everyone. I just wanted to say thank you again for the incredible support, advice, and unbiased opinions you've given me throughout this whole mess of a time. I've read every single comment on my last few posts, and it's been genuinely eye-opening in a beautiful way to realize how many people have been able to offer advice when my head was spinning. So it's been tense but quiet since my last post. My roommate has barely spoken to me, and things have mostly been awkward silence or heavy sighs. I've kept my boundaries up and stayed polite, but we both clearly needed space. Yesterday, my roommate and her boyfriend, yes, he was over to collect something of his, end quote, had a huge argument. I wasn't eavesdropping, but it was loud enough that I couldn't not hear it as our walls are thin, and they were yelling. He was accusing her of being a bad girlfriend for not sticking up for him when I talked to our landlord, or sticking up for him when I raised an issue, which she did. He actually said that she let me humiliate him and that she didn't even defend him, and said I have made him look pathetic. You are pathetic. So, if she made you look like that, it certainly wasn't hard. Opie said he went full guilt trip, saying she'd betrayed him and that real partners are supposed to protect each other. He said he felt humiliated, abandoned, and that she clearly didn't care about him at all. It was like watching someone weaponize hurt feelings just to control his narrative. She was crying and trying to explain, but he kept cutting her off, and then suddenly, boom, he slammed the door and stormed out. She followed shortly after. I thought that was probably the end of the drama for the night. I genuinely felt bad for her in that moment. But then, at like 2 a.m. this morning, she came stumbling in tipsy and immediately started shouting at me. Today ain't the day and OP ain't the one. She said she slurred something about me just being jealous and mad because I don't have a boyfriend. I literally couldn't be further from being jealous of her and her homosexual boyfriend, as he seems to be so cruel and guilt-tripping towards her. Then she said it's because I can't stand seeing her happy, so I ruin it for her. Then she called me bitter, pathetic, and said I was sabotaging her relationship because I'm lonely. I didn't even say anything, and I just sat there stunned. She then stomped off to her room and passed out cold. This morning I woke up to find her sitting at the kitchen table looking rough. She was hungover and clearly very low. She mumbled something about how she doesn't know what to think anymore, and then said she thinks that her boyfriend is only with her for her money. Duh! He's a, say it with me, hobo-sexual. He needs 2 hots and a cot. That's what he's attracted to. 2 hots, a cot, and 2 pennies to rub together. You could probably be man, woman, or anything in between. But as long as you could provide him with that, that's all he needs. I'm glad she's starting to wake up to it. OP continues, I was genuinely trying to be kind as I felt bad for her, and it must be a tough situation to be in. I told her I was sorry she felt like that and that she deserves better if that's how she was feeling. I thought we were having a real moment, but then she looked me dead in the eye and said literally, and I quote, "This is your fault." My jaw dropped. I literally said, "Excuse me?" And she repeated it. She said if I hadn't blown everything out of proportion and gone to our landlord, none of this would have happened, and her boyfriend wouldn't be angry with her. And then said I ruined everything. And in that moment, I realized this wasn't fair. I've been nothing but fair, and I've tried so hard to set boundaries respectfully, communicate like an adult, and not cause drama. I've gone out of my way to make this place livable and still get blamed for everything. And now I'm being guilt-tripped because her boyfriend treats the flat like a free hotel and she's too far gone to see it. Which brings me to the next part of this post. Our lease is up for renewal on August 1st. Our landlord emailed us both yesterday with a standard renewal reminder and asked us to let him know by July 1st if we're planning to stay, so he has time to prep the paperwork or start listing the flat. I've thought long and hard about this, and I have come to the conclusion that I don't want to live with her anymore. Even if her boyfriend disappears tomorrow, the trust and respect is gone, and the ability to feel comfortable in my own home is hanging by a thread. I won't be renewing my half. Whether I find a new place alone or with someone else, I'm not staying here. I haven't told her yet because I'm not in the mood to get screamed at again, but I'll be giving proper notice soon and reaching out to our landlord to clarify the process. I'll do it properly and respectfully, but I know that I will no longer live here. Period. I wouldn't either, and I do not blame her. She said, I've mentally committed, and this weekend I'm going to start the flat/house share search. I'm equal parts nervous and excited. Nervous because I'm in a very good location right now, and the rent isn't cheap, but reasonable for what it is. I know I might not get quite as lucky again, especially solo, but I'd rather pay a little more than keep sacrificing my sanity. If anyone has any tips or suggestions for websites to search for flat shares/house shares in the UK, I'd massively appreciate them. I'm still sad that it came to this because this flat could have been a dream, but I know I'm making the right decision. I deserve a space that feels like mine, or at least one I'm not constantly being pushed out of emotionally. So yeah, wish me luck, and if anyone knows of a spare room in a chill flat with non-toxic housemates and boundaries that are respected, feel free to manifest it into the universe for me. Thank you to everyone who's commented and supported me through this absolutely bonkers situation. You made me feel sane and reminded me that I deserve to feel safe, respected, and comfortable in my own home. That's so funny. The first comment out here. Oh man, she's going to crash hard, realizing she's torpedoed her life for a harmful, verbally at minimum, hobosexual. And she accused you of being jealous of her. Good luck, OP. Somebody else said, in this economy, hobosexuals are becoming even more malignant. And with such a winning personality, I can't imagine why his friends and family have turned him out. Bruh, I'm telling you, the hobosexualism is a disease plaguing our society today. They might look nice and cute on the outside, but there are signs. If they are eager to move in with you within the first couple of months, maybe even the first 6 months to a year, if they are always free to hang out, they always got free time, if all of their dates hinge around free activities, these are the signs of the hobosexuals. And I encourage you to please watch out and be vigilant. Stay vigilant. Do not fraternize with these individuals. There's a difference between being in a low period in life, just needing a little boost, a little step up. There's a difference between that and being a hobosexual. A hobosexual has no shame. They don't really want to turn their situation around. They rely on other people to take care of them because it's easier that way. And as TLC once said, I don't want no scrub. A scrub is a guy who can't get no love from me. A scrub is a guy who thinks he's fly. He's always known as a buster, always talking about what he wants and just sits on his broke ass. So, no, I don't want your number. Tell them this. No, I don't want to give you mine. And no, I don't want to meet you nowhere. No, I don't want none of your time. No, I don't want no scrub. A scrub is a guy that can't get no love from me or you. Waiting on the passenger side of his best friend's ride, trying to holler at me. They really ate with that. I didn't expect that story to be that long, but we'll do one more. This one is, am I the a-hole for wanting to leave my wife after she gave birth to my child? Whoa, geez. My 34 male, wife 32 female, and I have been married for 7 years. After a miscarriage, she admitted to me that she had multiple affairs over the last 4 years of our marriage. Okay, well, you should have led with that, OP. He said her last affair ended a year ago. She begged for us to go to therapy to work on our marriage, but I refused to go. During this time, I had moved out of the house. Occasionally, I would go back to take care of the house and animals, and she would constantly try to manipulate me into coming back. I had every intention of getting a divorce, but the process is slow. I hated the betrayal I felt, but I also missed my wife during the separation. One thing led to another. And we were intimate, and she got pregnant again. Shortly after the news came, I had to leave for work about 12 hours away from her. She would call to give me updates about the pregnancy and talk about our marriage. We were separated for a majority of her pregnancy. I told her that I still wanted a divorce, but I would consider reconciling after the baby was born. After several months away from her, I came to the realization that I could not trust her, nor could I forgive her for her infidelity. I feel like the last 7 years of my life has been a lie. While I was away from her, I met someone and a relationship blossomed between us. I truly feel like I love this woman. She has been made aware that I am still married and that I have a baby on the way. My wife is not aware of my new girlfriend. Now, OP, that's a little messy. I mean, I get it. I probably would have preferred you just wait till it's, you fully resolve the situation. I mean, I know you don't want her back. I would neither. That's just messy. He said, fast forward to a month ago, I had to go home for the birth of our baby boy. My wife has been pressuring me to reconcile, but I told her that I plan to divorce her again. After the birth of our baby boy, she has been blaming me for ruining our family. These people in these stories, all you can do is laugh. The situation you're in is literally your fault, ma'am. And you trying to say it's his fault? All you can do is laugh. He said, she has been blaming me for ruining our family because I don't want to stay with her and try to fix our marriage. I want to have a co-parenting relationship with my wife, but she is acting very erratic while I am here for our son. Am I the a-hole for wanting to leave my wife? Any advice on how to deal with this is appreciated. I don't think you're the a-hole, but as I said, I probably wouldn't have started up the new relationship with the guy. I probably would have just focused probably on myself and also on fully getting the divorce. I know it's an unfortunate time because she's pregnant with your child and you kind of gave her a little bit of hope saying, oh, well, maybe we could reconcile. But I mean, everybody can change their mind. So, you're allowed to do that. But I personally don't think you're the a-hole. I was going to say, make sure you get a paternity test. But the first comment here says, are you sure the baby is yours? And OP responded, the baby is mine. Someone said, everyone sucks here. Your wife sucks for cheating on you repeatedly over 4 years. That's a serious betrayal, and it's understandable that you'd feel like the entire marriage was a lie. But you're not innocent in this either. You were emotionally and physically indecisive for months, which gave her mixed signals. You told her you wanted a divorce, but kept showing up, had unprotected intimacy, resulting in a baby. Well, they are right about that. And continued entertaining her hopes of reconciliation even while emotionally checking out. You even said you'd consider reconciling after the baby was born. That's a huge breadcrumb to someone already trying to save a relationship. Then, instead of clarifying things, you started a new relationship while still married, didn't tell your wife about it, and are still hiding it from her now that the baby is born. That's not just messy, it's dishonest. Dang. They cooking right now with the comment. They making some good points, OP. They said you're fully within your rights to leave the marriage. Infidelity is a deal breaker for many, but your execution has been cowardly and passive. You didn't set clear boundaries, didn't communicate with honesty, and avoided taking firm action when it mattered most, and now you're reaping the chaos that comes from that. My advice, divorce her now. No more delays, no more maybes. Tell her about your new relationship, not to rub it in, but because she deserves clarity. She's parenting with you and should understand the new dynamic. lawyer up and establish formal custody and support agreements. Don't leave this up to emotional negotiations. Stop playing emotional games with her and yourself. You're not the victim anymore. You're a participant in this mess. Get therapy, not for reconciliation, but for you to process the betrayal, learn better communication boundaries, and avoid repeating this kind of mess in the future. You're not the a-hole for wanting to leave, but you're the a-hole for how you handled it. Boy, not gonna lie, they ate with that one. Update 23 days later. Thank you all to those who did not think I was the a-hole here. Here's how it went down. I took a paternity test and my son is confirmed to be mine. I have filed for divorce, but the state in which I lived is very conservative and has a waiting period before it can be finalized. The divorce was filed as uncontested and I will be paying child support while also staying in his life. I am selling our house and she is moving to a state close by where my son will only be a couple of hours away. This option also makes her closer to family. Custody arrangements will be updated once she has moved. This has been hard emotionally because she has blamed me for ruining our chance as a family and our son's future. It feels manipulative since I no longer want to be with her and I've taken care of her our entire marriage. My wife still does not know about my girlfriend at the request of my girlfriend. As much as I want to integrate my girlfriend, this will take time to do, and I also felt like my wife doesn't have to know about her until everything has settled and the divorce is finalized. It's been difficult for me being away from my son, but I do get to see him every day. I was there for his birth and 3 weeks afterwards. I will be taking leave again to spend more time with my son, take care of the house, the divorce, and to get her and my son moved. I'm glad this marriage is ending, and while it's tough right now with my son, the mutual goal is to have a co-parenting relationship. Despite the things my wife has said and her wanting to continue the marriage, I feel my son will be better off knowing what an actual loving relationship is. My girlfriend has been very supportive of me, and I'm ready to move on in my life with her. Trying to get any help or legal advice in the state we got married has been a nightmare and has been overall negative to the choice I have already made. The marriage is dead, but I will be in my son's life. I do not agree with the empty values there. Any advice on how to ensure a healthy co-parenting relationship without a lawyer is needed. Thank you all again. Some people said, not the a-hole, but you really should not have slept with your wife that last time without protection. This made everything much more complicated by giving her leverage. Another comment, why would you have a child knowing she was an a-hole and that you weren't sure you were fitting back together? Poor child. I mean, they was together for 7 years. I get it. Even though she cheated, he was having mixed emotions. He didn't know whether to forgive her and get back or leave and move on. It was one night. I won't say it was a mistake, but maybe definitely poor judgment. It happened. And I don't know, sometimes it annoys me when people say stuff like this because like, why are you even saying that? It's done. You shouldn't have slept with your wife that one last time. Okay, and he did. Now what? We're here now. The comment is a moot point. Like, we're here now. Somebody said, and now he wants to integrate his new girlfriend, which I can only guess means bring her in as a third parent. These people had no business making a child. It's a mess for sure. It's a mess for sure. So for the palate cleanser today, I have this cute video of this baby. The title of the video says, the baby had the sweetest reaction to seeing her mom on TV. Her mom is like a weather or news anchor, and the baby's looking at the mom on TV, and she is just cheesing. It is so cute.
Time Pro Golf will be back in Colorado in nearly 2 decades, and nobody is more excited than Colorado's own Wyndham Clark, who will get to play.
She's so cute, that little face. She like, look at my mommy up there. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.